Dan Perry here with another C++ tutorial for Dan on Tech. In this video we'll continue looking at our switch statement, and I want to show you a couple of things that can be done with the switch statement and a couple of things that you need to be careful of. Let's start with one of the caveats, one of the problems with the switch statement, and I'm going to change my value of my variable to an A. Going back to what we were using the last time, we had the switch statement that had the switch on value of the CH character. A was the first case, B was the second. And when we ran that, and you look at it, the results, we got the capital A because it found that CH was equal to the lowercase a, which was the match of the case. It executed that C outline and then broke out of the structure. Now, the problem, or the reason you have that break command, is if you do not break out of the structure. So if I comment that out, when it finishes the case for A, it's going to continue down to the next case, and it's going to make the assumption that you want to execute all of those statements as well. So when we run it this time, notice it says both A and B. Well, what it's doing is it matched the case for A, so it starts executing code. It executes the code for this first C out. Well, it really ignores the case B because it's already got a true condition and starts executing the code in case B, and if there wasn't a break there, it would go on and execute the default code. So once it has a true condition, it starts executing all the code in the switch until it reaches a break. So normally, that's what we really want. We want a break. But be careful, and that's one of the things you have to look at and make sure you leave and have those breaks in after each case that you want the break in. Now, let's look at another alternative, and that other alternative is where we may not want it to break each time, or we want to have multiple values that do the same thing, so that I can create a case. Here I've got two cases, a upper and lowercase a, and if I have those, and let's do the same thing with the B, let's add another case with a capital B. This way I can match either a lower or an uppercase A or B. So when I run it this time, well, when it compiles, it matches and it outputs the uppercase A, the C out A here, this line. Well, what it did was it matched the lowercase a, this first case. It doesn't test any other cases. Once it matches a case, it just skips over every other case. It doesn't test the next case. It matched the first one. It says, I've got a match. I'm going to execute code other than the case statements, and it output the A. Well, if I change that value to an uppercase A in my character now, when we run it, we'll get the same results, the same output, the capital A, the uppercase A. And that's because although this first case statement, the lowercase a did not match, the second one, the uppercase did, so it output the code that went with those two cases that were together. So there are times you don't want the break. And we could do the same thing. Let's do a capital B. And this time we get the output of B. So the first A case failed, the second A case failed, the first B case, the lowercase, failed, but we got a true on the second B case, the uppercase one, so it executed that code. Now, the case statements can be used for a lot of things. Very often they're used for menus. So if you had a list of menu options, the user input or picked a menu item, then you go through the case to determine which menu item they picked. Other cases it could use for, or other ways you might use it, where, for example, in college, if you had freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, maybe FR for freshman, SO for sophomore, and so on. So you wanted, based on their standing in the class, to match some value. So that's an introduction to our case statement. Thank you for watching this Dan on Tech video. Please subscribe to this playlist so you don't miss future videos. Please check out and subscribe to our other Dan on Tech channel playlists.